It depends. So what we just talked about with retirement funds applies equally to jewelry. You get to keep your exempt jewelry in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Any non-exempt jewelry is fair game for the Chapter 7 trustee to seize and liquidate for the benefit of creditors. So there is an exemption for jewelry in the homeowners exemption table, and there is an exemption for jewelry in the renters exemption table. The dollar amounts change over time, so rather than giving you the fixed numbers right now, which will be rendered invalid in the not too distant future, I'll simply say that the homeowners exemption is much more generous when it comes to jewelry than the renters exemption, presumably because if you're a renter, you don't have the resources to get jazzy rings. Now, if your ring and all your other jewelry sort of added together has a value that exceeds the exemption amount, you may either, this is into Chapter 7, you may either buy the jewelry back from the Chapter 7 trustee or allow the trustee to take the jewelry and sell it. So let's say you've got a wedding ring that has the Hope diamond on it. Well, you're not keeping that, but then you're probably not filing for Chapter 7 protection either. But for the most part, people do get to keep their wedding rings. And by the way, the Hope diamond is really quite beautiful. You can see a picture of it if you go to the Smithsonian website, because the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. has a whole wing devoted to precious gems. And the Hope diamond is the largest gem-cut blue diamond in the world, as far as I know. It supposedly has a curse. It had a pedigree that involved people who either met with untimely ends or lost everything. And now it's in the possession of the United States government, which may play a role in explaining why things are not as wonderful as they should be with the federal government. In any event, yes, you'll probably get to keep your wedding ring. Now, going back to the Chapter 13, Chapter 11 context, remember, in those chapters, you keep everything. No trustee is going to take your stuff, including your wedding ring. But if the wedding ring is non-exempt or maybe only partially exempt, then that non-exempt value does go into the liquidation analysis to determine the minimum that you have to repay your general unsecured creditors over the life of the repayment plan. But the long and short of it is, yeah, you'll probably get to keep your wedding ring.